Today, this is part 6 of our Learn Lightroom 5 series, and in this episode we're going to talk about the spot removal tool. The spot removal tool is the second tool from the left on the tools palette. You could access it by hitting Q on your keyboard, or of course if you just click on it. This is a photograph of my son Joe, and we're going to start out by getting rid of some of these moles. So we access the spot removal tool. You'll see it has two modes, clone and heal. I usually start out in heal mode, and I'm going to explain all that in a minute and the difference between the two. There's also two sliders, size, which adjusts the size of your brush. You also could hit the bracket keys. The left bracket key makes it smaller, and the right bracket key makes it larger. The opacity, I'm going to show you that in a minute. But right now we'll leave it at 100%, and I usually have it at 100%. So we want to get rid of this mole here. You just click on it. Lightroom automatically will sample an area that it thinks will be a good replacement. If you don't like where it samples, you can see how when you hover over it, it turns into a little hand. You could just move it to wherever you want. Now I'm going to show you the difference between the clone and heal by sampling his shirt. Now when I sample his shirt, see, it took the texture of the shirt, but it has the tone and the color of his skin, and that's when you're in heal mode. When you're in clone mode, it actually takes the pixels, it copies the pixels over to here, so it will show you the difference between the two. Normally I stick with heal mode and see how that does. If I don't like what it's doing and I can't find a real good spot, then I try clone mode and see what that does. So it's a little bit of one or the other, but most of the time I'm in heal mode. So then you could just go on and keep sampling spots, removing his spots wherever. And as you can see, this one is active now, and we still have these other two. If you wanted to go back to this one, all you got to do is click on it, and you make that one active again and move things around. You want to go back to this guy, move it around, whatever. Didn't want to do that, but anyways, you could then just keep going on. You can move spots very quickly after a while, after you get into it a little bit. The other thing I wanted to show you was the opacity slider. Now I could hit the command minus to zoom back out, or I could zoom back in, command plus. I could hold the space bar down and pull it down here, and we'll look at his eyes. And I mean, Joe's 15, he's not very wrinkled, but a couple little wrinkles under his eyes here. So what you could do is you could just, I have it in heal mode, that's what I usually do this in, and you could paint over it. It's sampled an area here. You could hit the H key on the keyboard and it will hide those lines in the circles where you sampled. Hit the H key again and it goes back on, so you could toggle it on and off with the H key. Now you can see that kind of looks, bad. If you turn the opacity slider, I found usually somewhere in the 30s, and it seems to blend better. Now if you look, I could turn this whole effect off with this slider here. This is without the effect, that's with. Without, with. You can see it's subtle, but it does the job. You could do it over here now, and it just does just enough to soften those wrinkles a little bit. Obviously if you turn the opacity all the way up, it looks fake. It looks like Joe has eyeliner on. But that gives you the idea why you would use the opacity slider. In this case, you could jump over now to this other photo. I'm going to show you some other things. Zoom out a little bit. Obviously this photograph of the statue of David, a replica obviously. We'll go into the spot removal tool. We have it in heal mode. I want to get rid of these trees. So I hit the right bracket key to make this bigger, and I could just paint right over that tree. And see now, go on this side here. I don't like where it's sampled. I can move it somewhere else. Yeah, right about there I guess is good. Hit enter. I see I left a little chunk of tree there, but that's alright. Well, you don't like what you did though, you could just reselect it, hit the delete key, gets rid of it, and you could do it all over again. And I don't like where that's sampled. You just move it around till you find a spot that blends in the best. Yeah, right about there, I guess. And anyways, we'll go on. Same thing here. I want to get rid of this blades of grass. Just do that. I like the way it's sampled, I guess. I don't know. I could be more fussy, but for the sake of speed in this video and get it done, we'll just leave it at that. And this one here, then I'd probably put in this white vignette. It helps it even blend in more. The last thing I wanted to show you is if you want to get rid of something that's a strong vertical or a strong horizontal. As you can see here, hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to pause the video and restart it because I don't know if you noticed, the tool started getting real herky-jerky, and I found a bug in Lightroom 5 with the spot removal tool. If I use it a lot, as I was doing here, I'm on my 4th photograph, it starts to get jerks around. It's not smooth. I can't get it to where I need it to be. So I paused the video and I restarted Lightroom, and it seems to have fixed it for now, so hopefully it stays fixed till I finish the video. Hopefully they'll update Lightroom and get rid of that bug. Now, as I started saying before I stopped the video, is if you have a strong vertical like this that you want to get rid of, or a strong horizontal, in the past versions of Lightroom you had to take a circular sample here, then go down a little bit, take another one, go down a little bit, take another one. You might have had to do it about 8 or 9 times to get rid of this pole. Now what you could do is you take a sample at one end, you go down to the other end, and you hold the shift key down and you hit sample again, and what it will do is it drew that straight line and took a sample there. Now you hit the H key, it actually did a pretty good job. So that's, one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is, let me delete it, hopefully it stays smooth for a moment, is you hold the shift key down when you're going to be doing the strong vertical or horizontal. And as you see, as you start, now watch, I'm going to move it way over here. See how it's not moving with the cursor? It's only going to go down. And hit the H key to hide those lines, and obviously it did a decent job. Now again, if I didn't like the job it did, I could just hit the clone key and see what that looks like. I don't like that at all. There's a tiny bit of shadow in there, but I could try to get fussy and move this around a little bit. No, probably was best right where it was. Yep, it was best right where it was, but so I could hit delete and I could do it again. Hold the shift key down and paint my line down. See, it's getting herky-jerky again. Delete it. Now we're determined. Hold the shift key down, click, and paint, and hide. There. That would be hard for someone to see that. So hit the H key to bring it back, and then I could just close down this tool, and that's, decent job. I mean, it's not content aware like Photoshop is, but it is a lot more powerful than it was in Lightroom 4, and there's a lot more you could do with it. And you could, most times it saves you a trip, because typically if I wanted to get rid of that pole, I would leave Lightroom and go into Photoshop, get rid of the pole, go back in Lightroom, So this saves some time in your photo editing. So that's it. What you need to remember is the difference between the clone and heal, that you could hit H to turn off or on the sample areas. You could switch between different ones. I mentioned that with the photographs of Joe. If you want to make another one active, click on another one. See all these different ones we did. Just click on a different one. If you don't like it, you could delete it by hitting the delete key. Go on to another one. You could resample that one by moving it around. You don't like it, hit the delete key. You could go on to a different one by just moving around. So again, you hit the H key to make them disappear so you could see what you did. And hit the Command plus and Command minus key to zoom in and out on your photograph. And hit to make the brush bigger or smaller, you hit the left bracket key to make it smaller and the right bracket key to make it bigger. And remember to use opacity if you want to get rid of some wrinkles. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I hope that helped. Again, I appreciate you watching. Stop over to anthonymorganti.com. I got a lot of videos over there. The first 5 videos of this series are there. Learn all about Lightroom, and I'm going to have more going up in the future. There's other videos on photography, and there's articles. And I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel on YouTube. The username's Anthony Morganti. I'd really appreciate that, and I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video and commented on it. Thanks for watching, and hope to get more videos up real soon. Take care.